We're here in beautiful downtown Ithaca this morning. We're going to be down in Waverly, as I mentioned, right across the border from Athens. Oh, you're from Saugerties?
Yeah, I moved here from Saugerties.
Yeah, we were at the Village Diner in Saugerties yesterday, right across the McDonald's there.
Yeah, the Barclay.
And we'll be down in Binghamton. But obviously, the premier issue in the nation here, besides economy and jobs, has been health care. And we've been working on it for months. I had a town hall meeting last summer on the healthcare issue. My opponent refused to have one, and I saw what I think a lot of us saw on television at town hall meetings. Americans very upset with the government takeover of healthcare. I read the bill at that point. It was only 1,000 pages at that point. We have a 2,500 page monstrosity that went through, and we have a new healthcare bill now. I think the key is to look at what was passed here, and I want to focus on the positive. I will agree, I think, with most of the people gathered here that there wasn't much positive, but the one thing I think we could agree on, the principle, and we'll see how it works out, we were discussing this before, is you shouldn't be denied for pre-existing conditions when you have a pre-existing condition for health care. And I know the Democrats are talking about that, and we want to undo so much of what they did, but I think that's a positive idea to be working for. Maurice Hinchey has criticized the bill. I've criticized the bill. It's probably one thing that we agree on, but the criticism's coming from vastly different angles. And I think there's a couple things that we really need to look at here. First, both MSNBC, which has a reputation for being quite liberal, and the Wall Street Journal, which has a solid reputation for just getting the facts out, especially on business, they've said that this bill represents the largest cumulative tax increase in our nation's history. And that's what you don't hear about. And look at where we are with our economy right now in upstate New York, in the Finger Lake region here. How many families have left? How many jobs have gone out of this state and overseas? And to put this type of strain on our economy at this point is just completely unacceptable. Look at the taxes and fees in this bill. There's taxes on wheelchairs. There's taxes on people who run tanning salons. We got an email from a lady who runs a tanning salon. She said she might not be able to stay in business. Look at some of the larger companies are saying already this is affecting their plans here. They're going to have to start laying off, from Caterpillar to Valero to John Deere. So we're already seeing the negative impact on our economy here. Second, and I know the Medicare program is in trouble right now already, but the Democrats don't seem to want to talk about their $500 billion cut in Medicare, which is the Medicare Advantage program that a lot of seniors are benefiting from around here. So I feel it's a real double standard when you look at what they're talking about, more and more government here, but who's here? Who are some of the people that are struggling to make ends meet and paid into Medicare their whole lives? Seniors. And so we have those two issues that I think Maurice Hinchey really needs to respond on. The largest cumulative tax increase and the Medicare cuts. There's so many things in the bill that are just very, very disturbing. And we know there's constitutional challenges already. I'm an American history teacher, and we know the goals of the federal government laid out in the Constitution are limited. National defense, immigration policy, which we're not doing a very good job at, postal services. There's nothing about health care in there. And it's going to be quite a legal challenge here to try to justify this legislation under the Commerce Clause. There's just a far stretch of anyone's imagination at this point. Maurice Hinchey's criticisms have been different. I think it's been said about him he never met a tax increase he didn't like, so I don't think he's too concerned about all these taxes and fees and the largest cumulative tax increase in history. He wants, as many of you know, a single-payer plan. Americans were outraged at even a public option in this, and the government controls, forcing people to buy health insurance, penalties if you don't have it, putting people even in jail, potentially, if they don't pay their penalties. But a single-payer plan just shows the opposite extreme from even the concerns that most Americans have had right now. So it really shows how out of touch Maurice Hinchey is with the American people. I talked a little bit about the effects of the bill here, and I think a lot of them just can't be measured. We're talking to small business owners and saying, hey, with these new mandates, we're not going to be able to hire. The larger businesses and corporations. My brother works for a corporation. He's a consultant. He met with leaders of other corporations. There's teams of lawyers pouring through this bill right now, trying to figure out what Congress passed, that these members of Congress, and I don't even think the president read or really know what's in it. And so this has been a sad, sad time for us as a nation here. The American people have spoken up, and I think there's reason for hope here. because people that I'm talking to are saying, hey, we're going to keep fighting here. We're not giving up because of one vote. And what I found from the town halls, what I found from other things is a lot of good ideas were put on the table that can improve the healthcare system. I think almost every American is concerned about cost, and every American wants all Americans to have access to good quality healthcare. What can we do? What is this new Congress could do? What are the principles I'm going to be fighting for? One, let's open up choice in insurance. Most of you are probably like myself. You have a choice of one, insure. I have Plan A and Plan B from the same insurance company. Why not open it up across state lines? The more choice, the more competition, the better product for consumers. Let's take on the insurance companies in that area. Let's do some real things to help small businesses afford health insurance. Tax credits are fine, but we don't need the mandates in there. And let's try to help small businesses. If you look at those who aren't insured right now, a huge number of them are small business owners and their employees. And I think those are real ways that we can go forward and try to fix this problem. The Democrats said, oh, we're putting some things about medical malpractice reform in there. There was nothing substantive, and that's a way to lower costs as well. These out-of-control lawsuits, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be some ramifications for doctors who make mistakes, and if there's a fatality, I know someone said, hey, can you really put a cap on that? But we've got to try to get some tort reform in and get these costs under control. As costs go down, quality's going to go up, improved access is going to go up. Those are the principles that came forward that most Americans agree on. Common sense principles that are going to improve our healthcare system. This is what I'm going to be fighting for in Washington. They've said that Republicans are the party of no. And if it's no to out-of-control spending, if it's no to more taxes and fees, if it's no to backroom deals like the Cornhusker kickback and the Louisiana Purchase, which I know were out of the final bill, but they were part of the process here that Americans are just disgusted at. It's not just no from me. It's you're darn right I'll say no. But we have ideas that we've laid forth. We've got to keep pushing for them. I mentioned before that I'm an American history teacher, and I'll tell you we're at a critical point in American history. $12 trillion national debt, trillion dollar deficits as far as the eye can see, the Chinese buying up our currency, trade deficits, businesses being strangled by government regulations. This is a critical point, and I want to go down to Washington to cut out of control waste and spending there, to try to get relief here to our businesses, to lift up the entrepreneurial spirit that's made this country so great. And these are the principles we're going to fight for in this campaign, and that we're going to fight for down in Washington. And so I thank you so much for your time here, and I'm certainly willing to answer any questions that you have.